everyone, and welcome back to another podcast from the Highbury Squad. It's number 38. So today joining me, I have my podcast brother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Hi, Amanda, PG, Princess Guna, how are you?
Hello, Casey. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you very much.
Okay, I promise not to sing 49, undefeated. I'm not singing. You've got a better voice than me. And over in La La Land, and it's probably about 10 o'clock in the morning, is our pod sister, the lovely Sophie. Hiya, darling.
We're coming for you. We're coming for you. Princess Gona, we're coming for you.
I actually think you sound more English than me and Kev, let alone you've lived over there for 15 years, honestly. We're coming for you.
Someone said that to me yesterday. I won't say where I was, but someone did say, I can't believe you've lived here for like 17 years and you still sound like that. And I'm like, you know what? It's because I'm on a Guna podcast.
There you go.
Oh, funny.
That's right, Casey. Get in.
You can take the girl out the Cockney, but you can't take Cockney out the girl.
She is not a Cockney. She is not. She's a North London bird and I'm an Essex bird. So we're not Cockneys. I'm just putting it out
Listen,
there.
you're Londoners, mate.
I'm not.
I know it.
She
I
is.
live up north.
I'm not.
The Northerners call all Londoners Cockneys, so that's
I know
all that
they
matters.
do. I know every time
Do you know
I
what
come
I
up.
loved? Do you know what I loved about Game of Thrones the most is that the North. They were like the North, innit? So, yeah. And then here goes my Greek girl. So I'm from Palmer's Green, otherwise known as Palmer's Greek.
Yep. And I live about 20 minutes from Palmer's Greek. Not far at all. Anyway, moving on. People are not interested in this. What they may be interested in, though, is the discussion that we're going to have right now that we feel is very, very, very important. And unfortunately, in this day and age, we have to discuss it. It should be dead and buried. We do not live in the 1950s. I cannot believe what has transpired over the last week or so. So I think everyone's going to know what we're talking about. It is the racism that was on full view in Bulgaria. And I, for one, am beyond disgusted. So, as everyone knows, we're very diverse on this podcast. As everyone knows, Kev is black, I am Jewish, and so...
Wait, Kevin's black?
Kevin's black. Yeah, he's black and he's black. But he's, yeah. Kev's black, I'm Jewish, and Soph, you're gay. So we can cover all aspects of everything that's gone on. But I am going to start with Kevin because it was the first person I went to when we had a major discussion in the office about what we thought the England team should have done, whether to stay or whether to go. And I would just like to put my point forward a little bit and then we'll come to Kev. I had two sides of this and I know both of you are on different sides. My first thought was bloody stay and bloody smash those goals in and show those scumbags they're not going to win. Then the other side of me was walk off and UEFA will have to deal with it. It is disgraceful. So I did, and this is the God's honest truth. I messaged Kevin and I said, Kev, what would you have done as an ex-footballer, as an ex-black footballer, as someone who's played in stadiums, God knows what he's gone through as well, what you've been through, sorry. And it was really interesting. I had a feeling, Kev, I knew what you were going to say, but over to you.
Amanda, you know me so well.
Yeah.
And this is what I would say to you and Sophie and to everybody listening, to be honest. This is a difficult situation for everybody concerned. I understand that. And do you let racists win? Because here's the key. If you walk off the pitch, they win. Nobody knows what's going to happen because in international football, you never walk off the pitch. You get the job done first. So you're gonna create a storm. But what exactly does it prove? What does it solve? It solves nothing. Everybody should realize when they talk about a three-step racism process, that means the perpetrators have to commit 3 acts of racism before they take it serious. That don't make sense to me. Okay? But having England stop the game a couple of times, everybody knew that racism was still going on in the second half. So that was the third one. But so why didn't they come off? They never came off because they had to finish the game. They wanted to finish the game. And that's the only way to what players and authorities, this is where they don't mix. The players just want to play. Whether you're black, white, indifferent, it doesn't matter. You want to play. England playing the game, whooped them. I'm pleased about that. And let the authorities deal with it after that. The problem is the authorities haven't dealt with it in the past. And what gives us any encouragement that the authorities are going to deal with it now? There is none. I don't know if you saw the statement that UEFA came out with, where one of the most progressive authorities that deal with racism, the highest fine they've ever had is still Nicholas Bentner. When there's been racism left, right and centre going on, and Nicholas Bentner's still the highest fine. So to me, that's BS. It's all BS. It's been there, it's never gone away, but all they keep doing is sweeping it under the carpet because they are looking at the bigger picture. Because if they have to eliminate a country like Bulgaria, if Italy or Spain or another country does it, are they going to eliminate them? Not on your life. So I don't want to hear no more about walking off the pitch. Let's get the job done and let's move forward. Simple as that. If the authorities can't do their job, it shines a light on UEFA for me.
Okay, so just a couple of things there. I think there is a new rule that England wouldn't have forfeited the game if they'd have come off due to racism. I'm not 100% on that, but that's what I was told. I understand. I knew actually as I was when I messaged you what you would say. Okay. There is a part of me that feels that they need to come off. It needs to be addressed. It was so abhorrent of what we were watching and what those players went through that I don't know, Kev. I think it's hard. I think they're paid to do a job, and the job was to get England through the qualifiers. They've done pretty well, England. I love the fact that Raheem Sterling scored. He's fast becoming my favourite player at another club, I have to say. And the way he holds himself and the way he is.
Amanda.
Yeah.
Can I just say something, please? I think it's really important.
Yeah, go on.
Look, there's a lot of people watching the England game. There's a lot of black people, there's a lot of Jewish, there's a lot of diversity watching the game. If it's that bad, why didn't the television shut it off? Let's be honest.
They're never going to do that. They're never going to do that because of the advertising.
No, why not?
The advertisers, they're never going to do it, Kev. Because money speaks.
Sorry?
Because money talks. Sorry, not speaks.
And can I, Amanda, you just said something very poignant. Money speaks. Let me tell you this. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Gareth Southgate. I think he's done a good job since he's gone into the England fold as manager. He's united a team and got a country to fall back in love with their football team. Raheem Sterling, I agree with Amanda, is probably one of the most likable athletes, not only in England, but on a global level, because of his evolution and maturity as a player and a human being. I'm going to agree with a lot of people that have said that England players should have walked off. And here's why, Kevin. And I respect your stance, especially as someone who continues to fight the cause for racism. Muhammad Ali was not only an incredible boxer, but he was a social trailblazer. Rosa Parks, when confronted with people on a bus, refused to get up off her seat because she, like everyone else, is a human being who deserves human rights. Second World War, Jewish people, children, mothers, fathers, taken away from each other and killed, murdered because of who they are and where they came from. A few days ago, it was the anniversary of a young man who was tied to a pickup truck here in the United States and driven across however many miles because he was gay. The Laramie Project, if you want to look that up, will tell you all about that. I believe that Raheem Sterling, especially, forget Tyrone Mings, I understand his perspective, but he's only just now come into the England fold. For me, Raheem could have had a Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Laramie Project moment, where he should have galvanized the team to walk off that pitch. We're already 6-0 up, but in the end, what Amanda's talking about is right. It's all about money and qualifying for the Euros next season. In essence, the lauding of this England team, I think, is a little out of place, because for me, if they'd have walked off and given the finger to these evil, racist bastards who have no regard for human life and no regard for their fellow human, that to me would have been the biggest statement of all. And what are UEFA going to do? What are FIFA going to do? Really? You're going to ban England from the Euros? I think the entire European Union would have gotten behind them. And I do believe that we missed a trailblazing moment where these guys would have been looked at in years to come as pioneers, trailblazers, and athletes, but humans who would have stood up for what was right. And I get it. Everyone keeps saying, oh, I'm so proud of England. I'm so proud of Gareth Southgate. I'm so proud of all of this stuff. Yes, they handled it really well. But you know what? In the end, they put money and competitiveness before the cause. Right. And that may sound harsh and I might get vilified for that, but I truly believe that they should have walked off, Amanda, 100%. Someone standing in front of you doing a Nazi salute. Are you shitting me? This is 2019.
Right. Can I just interact with you? Now, I get what you're saying, but why should they walk off, Soph? Let me just finish. Why shouldn't they stick 2 fingers up, score as many goals as they can, and walk off with dignity, which is what Kev's saying. So the problem is the arguments for both are correct. I agree with Kev, and I agree with you. And being Jewish, watching Nazi salutes, I wanted to get hold of it, each and every one of them, because as we know, where you live in America, where I live in the south of England, Kev's in the north of England, racism, homophobic, anti-Semitism, I'm sorry, and I don't care what anyone says to me, is on the rise. Now, I have my reasons for that, but I won't get political because we don't do that on this pod. And I just feel that it's being allowed. The whole world is gone mental. The problem is there's no respect, and I will say something as well. Racism, any ism, any homophobic, anything is not, you're not born with it, you're taught it. Where are these children being taught it over the years? Parents, friends, wherever they're watching TV, whatever they're doing, they are growing up with complete and utter disrespect and ignorance. Okay? How do we stop it? It's really interesting. A guy in my office said to me, over the next decades, racism will fade out. I laughed in his face. I did. I was the only one that argued with him. He's a lot younger than me.
Yeah, well, he would say that, wouldn't he?
Because you know why, Kevin? I get what he's saying. I sort of got it in the end. He's half my age, yeah? He's saying older generations are not accepting, but younger generations are called out on anything because of social media. You're going to be racist, you're going to be anti-Semitic, you're going to be homophobic, you're going to be anything, and you put it on social media, you're getting called out on it. And he said his decade, the 20s, mid-20s, are much more tolerant. Then I look at my son, who's 16. He absolutely hates anything to do with it. Anything. He is not, obviously not brought up by me or or his dad in that way. He's been brought up to talk respect and learn about life. But not everyone is. But I look at him and I pray that all his age just treat people how they deserve to be treated, regardless of skin colour, regardless of religion, regardless of choices of their partners, regardless of gender, regardless of anything. I've always had this saying, Kev and Sophie, and I'll say it now. If you're a dickhead, you're a dickhead, regardless of colour, race or religion. I don't want to know you. I couldn't care less what colour, race or religion you are. If you're a dickhead, you're a dickhead. That's how I live my life. I do not see colour. I do not see race. I do not see religion. I've always been like that. But unfortunately, when you go across to the Eastern Bloc, it does seem pretty hard over there. Russia as well. I mean, it's right.
Amanda, hold on a minute. Hold the horses a minute.
Happening in our own country.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to come back to that, sorry.
The pot can't cool the kettle black, right? We have issues in our own country.
Yes.
We have issues. On Friday, there's Nazi salutes coming from the England crowd.
I was tweeted that. But can I just finish, Kev, what I was just about to say?
Go on.
As I said to you, the political reasons that I'm not going to go into, it's on the rise everywhere. And this country people think it's okay to be outwardly racist, outwardly anti-Semitic, outwardly homophobic. People are starting to rise above and think it's okay. It's not okay. We have it everywhere. Look, I can talk about the Spurs situation with the Y word. You know, I am deeply offended by it. And I have many conversations with my Jewish Spurs friends who don't have an issue with it. And I say to them all the time, don't come running to me then when you get abuse. You cannot use it for one thing and not for another. It is an offensive word. Every Arsenal fan that ever tweets me and puts the Y word on my timeline, I DM privately and explain to them. They don't think they're being anti-Semitic because that's what they think Spurs are called. They're not called that. Unfortunately, the fans called themselves that. It's ignorant, it's old hat, and it's really goddamn disrespectful. So I come from that view, yeah? But I have many fans all across the country that think it's very acceptable to use that word. It's not. I'm sorry, it's not. You don't stereotype and you don't use that word. That's how offended I am. But then, you know, we go to you, Kev, with your colour, or Soph with her choice of partner, and it is everywhere. Anti-Semitism's on the rise. Everything's on the rise. Why is that, Kev?
Racism hasn't gone away.
I know, and I don't think any of it's gone away.
Amanda,
but what I'm saying is people feel like they can come out and say it.
What's happened is this. Racism has always been there. But what's happened now is there's different bolt-ons. Mm-hmm. There's different bolt-ons to it. So the homophobia and the anti-Semitism and all this kind of thing gets bolted on into one big gumbo. It's not the same, but we could all put it in one big space, right? And you're right, it is taught. Because you're not born a racist, you're not born homophobic,
no, you're not.
You're not born anti-Semitic, there's none of that. But it is handed down. Racism has never gone away. I could tell you that now, it's never gone away. And if anybody thinks, we've been doing so well, we bloody haven't. We've discussed this before, and I'll say it again. It's always been there, it's just been bubbling under the surface.
Yeah, but why I'm saying is, Kev, why do you think now people think it's acceptable for it not to be bubbling, but it's out? Well, no, none of us do, and anyone with the right mind doesn't.
Amanda, social media and technology. No, it's because we see it now. Before
they don't expose themselves.
Exactly.
But they could put their views across.
Right. And before it was more silent.
But do you not think it's the political situation across the world?
It's been that way for... What was the difference between Donald Trump, Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan, even the likes of Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, Tony Blair? What have any of them ever done to help the cause. Seriously. This is why people like Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and Harvey Milk and all of these trailblazers, all of the Jewish freedom fighters since the war that have tried to express and lay this out. It is not the politicians. They are never the ones to fight the cause. It is the people who rise as key influencers and key informers. And there's something going on here right now with LeBron James and how he's failed to stand up for what is right in terms of what the people of Hong Kong believe and truly feel, and being suppressed by the Chinese government. And he's failed as an athlete who has spoken out for Colin Kaepernick and black rights and a movement. He actually sold out yesterday. I'm so disappointed in him because I'm a huge fan, because at the end of the day, Nike and making shoes and the $5+ billion China brings to the NBA has spoken. And exactly what you said, Amanda, with regards to money, and before this conversation kind of started and we got into this here, that is why I would have loved for the England players to walk off. It would have been a moment, a signature moment, not only in football, but in our history as a nation, as people. And they should have done that.
But what difference would it make? Sophie?
It would make a massive difference, because you know why now, Casey? UEFA don't care. We completed the game.
So how would it make a difference?
Is what it is. It would make a difference because the conversation right now on a global level, even here in the United States, in Europe, in other countries, would have been far more escalated and elevated. This is what pioneers and trailblazers do. They change the conversation. They change the course of history. This would have been an epic moment. And I agree with Jordan Bryant from Channel 4. I agree with Adam Catterall. I don't agree with all the other people that are lauding Gareth Southgate and the England team for how they behaved. No. Yes, you suffered at the hands of racists. And I'm sure there are people on that team who have Jewish heritage who had to sit there on a pitch, stand there on a pitch and watch these monsters salute the most derogatory salute any human being can ever evoke or show. And what they should have done was walk off, because it's time. We've seen bananas thrown at Aubameyang in our own stadium, in our own
And what has it changed? Sophie.
Because no one has taken drastic action, Casey,
Sophie.
and that is what is required.
Sophie.
We need a movement.
Sophie, no. I've lived it for 49 years. Nothing will change.
No, because no one is taking. If Raheem Sterling have turned to the guys and said, listen, you know what? I know we talked about this, but screw this. We're out. We're off. Raheem Sterling immediately becomes a character and a footballer larger than himself. We create a conversation that goes global, and the England team, World Cup winners once, yes, granted, but an England team who have been part of the evolution and invention of the game have said, you know what? No, this is bigger than football. That would have been a major difference. Walking off would have been a difference.
Sophie, I would love to be able to think like that. But I know the system. The system won't allow it. Whether we like it or not.
But that's the point, Casey. We've got to change the system.
Yeah, this is what we've been trying to do, Sophie.
Right, hold on, both of you. Let one speak.
We've been trying to change this for all these years. UEFA will not change it, or else they would have changed it ages ago. This ain't the first sign of racism in a football stadium.
But Kev,
no, sometimes, Casey, you have to force change. Harvey Milk, right? Harvey Milk, who fought for my people. He was the first openly gay elected official in the history of California. He put his life on the line. He put his entire existence on the line. And in the end, he was assassinated.
Guys, can I just interject? Listen, What Sophie's trying to say, Kev, is no one has ever walked off the pitch. How do you know if they didn't walk off, nothing would be done?
They have walked off. They have walked off. It's not the first time a team has walked off.
What?
Teams have walked off.
No.
Hold on, let me finish. No. Not at that level, Kev, probably.
Yeah, but hold on a minute. Let's have it right here. So what you're saying is, if a club team walk off the pitch and an international team walk off the pitch is different. That's what you're telling me. No.
What I'm saying is,
so what are you telling me then?
If they set the standard for all the way down...
No, it's not about setting standard, Amanda.
No. Precedent. I don't mean standard.
If one team walks off and another team walks off, because one's an international, one's a club team, is that different?
No. What I'm trying to say is, we were talking about lower leagues walked off and they got penalised, yeah?
Yes.
What I'm saying is, if someone high up, which is what Sophie's saying, takes that stand, you cannot get much higher than the England football team for us in this country, yeah? And then obviously it goes to clubs and then different divisions. We don't know what would happen because we need that fed through to grassroots. Anyone should be able to walk off and the precedent should be the same. We don't know, Kev. No one's ever done it. You've never had top...
It's been done. This is... Amanda, Sophie, you're not listening to what I'm telling you.
Okay, go on.
Teams have walked off the pitch previously. What has been done? What has it changed? It's changed nothing.
What teams, Kev? Because I don't know of any.
If you remember rightly, could you remember when Patrick Vieira was at Manchester City? Could you remember when he was at Man City? He was coaching the young team.
Yes.
They walked off. Mario Balotelli when he was in Italy. They walked off.
That's not a first high-profile team.
What, AC Milan walking off the pitch? Stopping because of racism.
I didn't know that. Okay, so AC...
Right. Even QPR, I believe, in the summer, there was some racism in Spain, and they stopped the game.
No, but there's a difference, KC. Hold on 1 second. Let me just interject for 1 second, right?
No, there is no difference. So what you're saying is racism at international level is different to racism at youth level.
No, of course
I never said that.
So what are you saying?
We're saying if a high team with a big, Soph, you say it. You know what I'm trying to say.
What we're saying is there's a difference between QPR walking off and there's a difference between Raheem Sterling walking off. Just as I had explained before, there's a difference between when LeBron James talks and some player from the New Orleans talks. There's a major difference. And right now, we have the opportunity as a nation and as a team and as a group of players. And this is why, with all due respect to Tyrone Mings, has been in the England team one time, right? This is about people like Raheem Sterling, Danny Rose, Dele Alli, high profile players who say, you know what? Jewish players too on the team. I'm a little disappointed that none of that has come a bit more to the fruition in that. Who is Jewish on the team? Who has Jewish ties on the team? Who had to be on the pitch to see a Nazi salute, knowing that their ancestors, family members died at the hands of evil? And same thing with gay people, my community. You know, these things, we have to take a stance and a stronger stance. This is what changes the world. These are the people that have changed the world. And someone from QPR walking off in a preseason game or even a game is not the same as Raheem Sterling, the golden boy of Manchester City and a player who has shown exceptional maturity to say, you know what? No. Because if I was at work and I was standing by the water cooler and some dude came up to me and said, oh, hello, Dyke, or made some jokes about gay people or whatever, I'd walk out the office because I have every right as an employee. No one's going to fire me. You're going to look into this person that attacked me at the water cooler. And that's the difference. England missed a beat and a moment. We could have changed everything. And we've been doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. But you don't get different results if you don't change the narrative. And we didn't change the narrative.
I think, Sophie, Amanda, so what you're saying is it is different. if England are racially abused and AC Milan
No, that's not what I said, Kevin. I said the person delivering the message. The person delivering the message.
So I've listened to you. What you're saying is different. So it is different because you're saying Raheem Sterling will make a difference. But what will Raheem Sterling change when he was racially abused at Chelsea? What has it changed?
Right, okay.
It's changed.
If he'd have got up and walked off that pitch, gone into the tunnel, he would have changed things.
But he didn't do it.
He didn't change a thing.
Right, hold on. He didn't walk off, Kev, so we don't know.
It won't change a thing. It's the system.
All right, that's your opinion, but we can't prove that. So what we're trying to say is, yes, there is no difference if a black player gets abused playing for England or if he gets abused in Division 4 or whatever you call it nowadays. And that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is if a high-profile person does it, it could start something. That's all we're saying. There is no difference, Kev. What you're saying is, even if he did, there'd be no difference. That's fair enough. But I do feel sometimes, someone's got to take a stand.
Amanda.
But
So do you think after all these years a stand hasn't been made?
I don't see any.
No, not really. Not really.
Hold on.
You don't think so?
Hold on.
Not in a strong way.
Has been made ever?
No, not in a very high profile way.
Do you think a stand has been made? Not in the way you want the stand to be made. I'm just saying, do you reckon a stand has been made?
No. I don't.
All right, hold on. He's asking me. 1 second. Right. What I think is, I agree with Sophie, it hasn't. Kev, if it had happened to you and you're a high-profile player and you would have walked off the pitch at Highbury, what do you think would have happened? What would have happened?
If I'd have walked off the pitch at Highbury, the game would have gone on.
Due to racism.
Game would have gone on.
Okay. Well, not if the teammates would have followed you.
Yeah, if the teammates follow, then you're having a conversation. But this is what I'm going to tell you now. And this is why, this is what the system is. The system still goes on. So what are the players going to do? Are they going to boycott it? Are they going to go on strike? If something don't get done, what are they going to do? What's it going to do? Because I'm telling you now, I've been in this game and around this game for a long time. And nothing has changed. Nothing. They've put in nonsense about, kick racism out of football. They've never even fully funded the thing. So that tells you what the hierarchy are thinking. They don't want it. They're not interested. They do token gestures, and never, ever get the correct thing done right, which is knocking it out straight away. Think about it. There's a 3 strike rule. Why should there be 3 acts of racism before they act? Why? Why should there?
Exactly.
It should be 1 act.
It's ridiculous to even think. So, Raheem Sterling, Tyrone Mings, all of our black players stood on a pitch and allowed a 1 act of racism to be invoked. And then a second and a third. Excuse me, the first time you do that, mofos, I am out. And let me tell you something, right? Because I know that Amanda wants to move on to our next subject here, but it's very important, this discussion, especially among the 3 of us, with all of our diversity. It's very important.
100%, 100%.
Right? When Barack Obama was running for his second term as president, now, I had a tremendous amount of respect for him. I may not have agreed with all of his policies, but I agreed with a lot of what Barack Obama stood for. And as a gay woman, coming from England but living in America as an immigrant, he did something unprecedented for a president. He was looking for re-election, a second term, which some people have succeeded at and some people have failed at. And what did he do? He stood up in front of thousands of people and said that I support gay marriage before the election process even started. He took a risk, and he could have alienated half the country. But he stood up and he said, here's what I believe. I believe that love is love. I believe that people deserve human rights. And as America, we have to move on. He changed the conversation. It's unprecedented for a president to make that kind of stance, to say, here's what I support. And not only did he win the second election, he ransacked the Republicans on it. And because why? Because people realize that if I love another woman, if a man loves a man, I'm not destroying the world. I'm not going to harm our security. I'm not going to harm our nation. I just love someone. He made American people realize there's a bigger fight. There's something greater out there for us to unite and fight for. And he risked a second-term presidency in his legacy to stand up for that. And what I'm saying is that Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks, Harvey Milk, all of these people risked their lives to stand up to really create change. And England, in a moment where they were being absolutely pelted with racism, Nazi salutes, horror, anger, hatred, could have made the same stance to change the conversation, and they didn't.
Right. I need to change the conversation. It has been absolutely fascinating to hear everyone, well, the point of view of both of you and how I feel. Look, it's disgusting. They're scumbags. They've got no brain cells, and unfortunately, no education. I don't know where it ends. In everyday life, as Kev says, we've all experienced it, unfortunately. But thanks both of you for really speaking honestly, because I think it's really important we do talk about it and we don't stop. Kev, I get your point. Soph, I get your point. I'm with both of you on this. Part of me wants to stick two fingers up and down the pitch. Part of me's like, make that stand and go, and someone high profile needed to do that. Anyway, we'd love to hear your tweets on this. And I'm just assuming you're just going to agree with all of us. I just am assuming that. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Amanda, I think it's really important that people who listen to it give us their points of view.
Conversation needs to be started.
You know what I mean, Sophie? Yeah. I think it's really important.
Yeah, and I feel that I can't believe it's 2019 and we're having this conversation. It's boring, Kev. It is absolutely boring to the hill. We've got one life. We need to live it. Life is short. You don't know what's around the corner, and yet you want to hate on people for skin colour, for religion, for who they love. Grow up, for fuck's sake. Honestly, I try and educate everyone I meet about my religion and about who I am. And honestly, it is just goddamn boring. Anyway, unlike us, we're not boring. So we are going to move on to something very different, except it's all about Arsenal now. So, Kev, you've done your little show today, haven't you, with Lee about Ozil, I'm understanding.
Yeah, it's out today.
It's out today. So head over to YouTube, and it's the Kevin Campbell Show on AFTV, and I love watching it, and it's great, you and Lee Judges. So, Kev, tell us what you think about Ozil.
Well, what we discussed on the show was, is Mesut Ozil mistreated? Has he been mistreated? Because there's Ozil lovers and guys who don't love Ozil that much. But there's a respect element in there. There's obviously what's happened with him and Kolasinac, where, he's missed game time and training time, etc. And there's a rumour, which I have to say it is a rumour, that he looked to pay off two coaches to get out of a training session.
Allegedly, yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a rumour. So, obviously the club ain't going to confirm or deny anything right now. They're never going to say that. But the fact that Mesut Ozil isn't involved with the team, or hasn't been involved with the team, should I say, speaks volumes, when really he's supposed to be your most creative player. Let's have it right. Now, the fact of the matter is he's not being involved only in like cup matches and one league game or whatever. Something's not right. Something isn't right. So we discussed that. I just think everybody makes a big beeline about his wages. Look, Arsenal Football Club pay all the players' wages. So it's up to them what they want to do, and ultimately it's up to the manager who he wants to pick. I've heard that Mesut Ozil's fitness levels haven't been up to par, which is why he hasn't been involved, because Unai Emery actually came out and said other players deserve it. Other players deserve the opportunity because they're up to speed and Mesut Ozil isn't. So we discuss all things like that. But this is what I would say. If it is true that Mesut Ozil looked to pay 2 coaches to get out of a training session, that's him done. And it looks that way as if they're going to try and loan him out in January, because that goes against everything that Arsenal stand for. Fair enough, you might not get picked or whatever, but you have to be straight down the line. And if he's trying to do that, that's wrong. But again, it's alleged. So I'm not going to hold his feet to the coals over it. But something's going on that ain't right, because Mesut Ozil, our supposedly most creative player, is not involved.
I'm gutted. I love Ozil. Unfortunately, I've hardly seen him this season. I think we could have done with him this season. I don't like the way Emery's treated him, but then we don't know what's gone on, do we? And if he has paid coaches, that's not right. We don't know if the effect of what happened in London to him and Kolasinac. Everyone deals with things very, very differently. He's obviously not happy, and I think it's best all round, which I'm not happy about, is that he goes in January and we just move on from it. What do you think, Soph?
This has been happening before the carjacking incident. And I actually spoke to Georgie Bingham and Tony Cascarino on the TalkSport Breakfast Show the weekend, saying that a lot of these things happened before that incident. Here's what I think people don't realise. Before the World Cup, Ozil was already a poor player for us against the big sides, away from home and at home. He's never, ever showed up against Man United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool. He hasn't. He showed up against Ludogorets, and he showed up against other teams, which I've said in the past, but he's never shown up. The only game he showed up in was that Liverpool 3-3, which was an amazing game. And you guys know which game I'm talking about. We had Alexis Sanchez still at the club at that time. And it's been really disappointing. I've said to you before, Ozil's lazy. He was enabled under Wenger. He was the superstar of the team. He knew he was the marketable factor for Arsenal Football Club, and Arsenal put all of their marketability into Ozil. And now a manager's come along that has said, you know what? He doesn't. And I said this to you guys at the beginning of the season through an inside source, that Emery was not enamored with how he trained, his attitude, and how overall he handled himself. And Emery's made him pay the price. I'm sorry, you can't act like that. Ronaldo trains every day. Messi trains every day. Lewandowski, all these top players, they train, they work hard. He's lazy. And the other thing too that I said to Georgie Bingham was, there is a mental weakness in Ozil. And I'm not a doctor and I'm not identifying, but I said to you guys a little bit before what happened that I wonder if he suffers from depression or something like that. Look how Kolasinac has handled the carjacking. Back in the team, he's playing. Maybe not very well, but he's back. Ozil is different. He's sensitive. He's a modern player. He needs cuddling. He needs mollycoddling. But the world doesn't work that way anymore. You're paid £350,000 a week, and some people will say, hold on a second, you can't put that on him. They just offered him that. No. he and his representatives asked for that because they thought he was worth that. And he's repaid Arsenal Football Club zeros on that. It's time for him to go. It's time for a clean slate. It's time for the Mustafis, the Kolasinacs, the Ozils of the world to go. It's time for the new Arsenal to be built on the Aubameyangs and the Lacazettes and the Guendouzis and the Bellerins and the Tierneys and the Holdings of the world. That time has passed now. Meza is done. We got what we got from him. He had his finer years playing alongside Alexis Sanchez, but he's done nothing. Don't get caught up in the romance of Ozil versus what he's done for the club. I think he's got to go, and the sooner he goes, the better. Respect him. I think he's a great guy. He's a decent human being. But what happened with Germany and how he handled that, it hurt him. He was absolutely vilified and he shouldn't have been. But he's just not able to handle these high pressure situations. And let me say something at the risk of being vilified myself. Ozil played for Germany for years. All right. He's a Turkish immigrant playing in Germany. And this is part of the problem, right? But since he was vilified by the Germans, he's gone all out on being Turkish. He's gone all out on his religious stuff. He's gone all out on, and maybe that's the Greek Cypriot in me, all right? And I'm getting a little whatever now. But seriously, all this stuff going on with Turkey in the world right now, everyone taking notice of how they're handling and dealing with the Kurds or everything. No, this is important. I don't care. People can come at me. The Turkish Cypriot problem has been in existence since 1974 and no one has given a shit. All right? Nobody. And this goes back to taking a stance and making a point. It was convenient for Ozil to play for Germany. But all of a sudden now, he's super Turkish. All right? Take that how you want. Convenience is very fashionable in sports and popular culture. And right now, I think Ozil is playing the convenient game and a bit of a victim. Shoot me, I don't care. That's my opinion.
Okay, well, we'd like to know your opinions because it's definitely split. It's like the Wenger in, Wenger out. It's now Ozil in, Ozil out. It's just a shame we couldn't utilise for what I feel is one of the...
Amanda, what has he done for Arsenal Football Club?
Okay, but
seriously,
remember a lot of times the players he had to play with. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to move on because we haven't got...
Diego Maradona played for Napoli.
Yes.
And won the Serie A when they were a relegated team prior.
Didn't say he was Maradona, but we're moving on because we've got a few minutes left, okay? We're moving on. We play, so the interval is over, thank God. We're all
Thank God!
Thank God! Praise the Lord! Thank the Lord. So, but we don't play till bloody Monday night. So we could be about 15th in the league by then if everyone wins. Anyway, so we play. It's going to be a toughie, isn't it? Sheffield United away Monday night. 8 o'clock kickoff, I'm assuming. Kev, what's your thoughts when they're going to come back from internationals?
It's going to be a really, really tough game, Amanda.
Isn't it?
I'm going to be really honest with you. This is a massive potential banana skin for us.
Would you take a draw?
No, because we need to win.
No, I know.
Take a draw. Even saying, give me a point now. No, we're Arsenal. We cannot afford to draw. We got to go there and win the game. So I'm hoping Unai Emery gets the team right. I think because what Sheffield United are, they're tough. They're aggressive and they're going to come at you. So Unai Emery's got to pick the right team to be able to combat that and counteract it. So I'm always going to try and be positive and go for an Arsenal win. But I know it's going to be a really tough game.
Soph?
I think we're going to lose. I think this is 100% a banana skin game. I think Sheffield United have come into the league playing their brand of football. I think they have a manager who holds their players accountable. Guys, was it the Liverpool game where they almost got the draw and they ended up losing?
And the keeper made a mistake and he said he's not going to put his up.
Yes, and the manager came out and he basically, called his players out. I think it's going to be tough. You're going into the Steel City against a team that has really shown some major balls coming into the Premier League. So I think we've got to be really super careful. And once again, like I've said, week in, week out, it's down to Emery. Who's he going to pick and how's he going to set up the team? But I don't fancy a Monday night game after an international break in Sheffield, especially if it's raining, for this Arsenal team. I will if Bellerin and Tierney and Holding are playing. Different level altogether with those guys.
So what's your prediction?
I think we're going to lose 2-1.
Yeah, she predicted a loss, Sophie.
So 2-1. And Kev, what was yours?
I'm going to go for 2-1 win.
Right, 2-1 loss for Soph. 2-1 win for Kev. Right, well, I'm sitting on the fence, I'm afraid.
Are you writing notes on your Norton antivirus pad?
No, darling, I'm writing on pen and paper because I'm still old. Okay? I'm going for a draw, 1-1. And I'm telling you now, I'd take that now because I'm a little bit more on draw, maybe losing. I think correct, Kevin. That was the word I was looking for. Banana skin potential. And it's Monday night. No doubt everyone's going to bloody win above us, below us, that'll take them above us. And we'll have to wait and see all on Monday evening. No pressure, Arsenal. No pressure. So we're coming to the end of the show. And it's been very, very, very interesting to discuss what happened against Bulgaria, what happens in our stadium, what we all think could possibly happen to help. We would love to hear your opinions on this. It's horrible, I'm afraid, but it's something that as a team and the Highbury Squad we wanted to cover. We've done a very quick podcast as we weren't due to do one till after, but we thought it was really important to discuss all this. So if you want to go to YouTube and look for the Kevin Campbell Show, he discusses Ozil. We're on every platform going, aren't we, Soph? I can't remember where we are, but you know where we are, so tell everyone.
We're on Twitter, we're on iTunes, we're on SoundCloud, we're on YouTube, and due to popular demand, I am also setting up Spotify as well.
Oh.
And there's another one we're on, but I can't remember it right now. But anyway, you'll find us. Just Google Highbury Squad.
Yeah, you'll find us. Kev, thank you very much. Have a great weekend and hopefully a good 3 points on Monday.
Amanda, you're welcome. And it's great to always come on the pod with you ladies, my pod sisters. Thank you.
We love you.
I wish
Do you know what I love,
a lovely,
Casey?
lovely weekend. And come on, Arsenal, we need this win on Monday.
We do.
Yes. And you know what I love is that as different as our opinions might be sometimes, the respect that we have in the conversation is everything. And I hope that translates to our listeners. And there are a lot of people out there that do love us, and there are other podcasters that may feel the same or different, but we've got to have the conversation. It might be uncomfortable sometimes, but the conversation has to be had.
Very important.
It's great conversing with you guys. I love you guys.
And you know what, Sophie? I think we all want the same things.
Yeah.
We all want it gone. We want it eradicated, don't we? But we come at it from different angles, that's all.
Yeah, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to the way they think would work best. Whatever way, as long as we get there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But so, thanks very much, darling. And, we've got a weekend of football without us until Monday night. So thanks to everyone for listening. We really appreciate all your tweets. You can find us on Instagram as well. I just remembered that one. And I know I was quite good. I'm quite impressed with myself. Always Arsenal.